For 33 days, that's right, 33 days, 333 people will win $333 in cash, cash.
Get ready for some instant wins, Georgia, because for 33 days, 333 people will instantly win $333. That's at least 10 instant winners a day.
Numbers are everywhere, there's enough to share, so pick and play Cash 3.
It all ends February 15th, so play Cash 3 from the Georgia Lottery. Play responsibly.
You are listening to I Am Refocused Radio with your host, Shamaya Reed. This show is designed to inspire you to live your purpose and regain your focus. And now, here's your host, Shamaya Reed.
Hey, welcome to I Am Refocused Radio. Once again, we are here today, and man, let's just get right to it. We have a special guest today. We have the legend himself, Chris Myers. We're going to be talking about his amazing book, That Deserves a Wow. And also, we're going to be getting ready for Super Bowl 59. First and foremost, I want to say to you, sir, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing okay. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. I appreciate your time. We know you have made some of the most amazing, epic interviews with some of the world's top athletes and talents. Being able to cover for over 30 years with major networks, NFL, MLB, NASCAR, NCAA, and NBA. Kind of tell us, how does it feel to be able to look back and say, wow, I was able to do all this in my life?
Yeah, you hit it well. That's why I wasn't sure when they asked me to write this book, what to call it. But I think talking to great people is, we use the word wow a lot in our lives in sports and when something happens. And I kind of was just working through it. Then they said we had all these special moments, World Series, Super Bowls, whatever you covered. And you interviewed everybody from, Will Chamberlain and Ali to Tyson and Kobe and Jordan and Barkley and go on and on with. I'm just grateful that I was in a business and was able to talk to cool people because while other kids I think were thinking about, hey, I want to play when I grow up. I want to play in the World Series or Super Bowl. I was like, I want to talk to the guys that interview and or broadcast those events. And so I've been fortunate enough to be a part of that. And believe me, I never when I stopped to think about it, I was like, wow. But when you're working, you're on to the next thing. It's almost like you ask a player about their career, like Jerry Rice. He's like, I don't think about the records. I'm on to the next game or on to the next one. And then he retires. And then he'll go back and share what it all meant to him.
In your book, you mentioned how your mother instilled confidence in you. How did that make not just an impact in your life, but also influence how you approach sports broadcasting?
Yeah, Rice was one who, as great as he was, when he admitted that he had to remind himself every time, Jerry Rice, on the field, I haven't done anything yet. I have to prove myself. And I saw that too with like Randy Moss, some guys I got to hang out with and get to know when they were playing, where Randy almost had to have a chip on his shoulder. And if a team already lied, he didn't have one, then he would create one. He would stir it up a little. So he'd have to say, I'll show them I can do this or I can do that. And so those kinds of things. I view myself that a little bit personally growing up, but kind of as maybe an underdog person. As I was told, hey, you're in radio, kid, you'll never be in TV. I had a scar in my forehead that later, I proved them wrong. And so there's that connection. And I think kind of growing up at a young age to have been around great athletes and coaches, I related to them and I learned from them about pursuing my own career and what was important to me, and then appreciating them and bringing that out to an audience. You see the results on the field, but what goes in the mind of a Mahomes when he's trailing by double digits in a Super Bowl, or how does Joe Montana stay so cool when his team is behind and the Super Bowl's on the line? So those are some of the things that I think sports fans would be interested, but anybody when they read the book. And it was kind of I've kind of grown up in sports. I was kind of lucky that way, even though I never really played.
And speaking of Super Bowl and trailing behind, this is an amazing moment. I get to ask you about the Super Bowl, Tom Brady with Atlanta Falcons. Speaking of being behind, overtime, you got to give us a little bit of what was your experience like being able to cover that and talk to him after the game, because that was amazing.
It was a special one, and I was the sideline reporter for the Fox Network broadcast. So, they're losing. I mean, it looks like Atlanta's going to win it with Matt Ryan and Dan Quinn on that other sideline. And of course, halftime, Bill Belichick, I talked to him. He was in a hurry. He wasn't very friendly, but that's not a surprise. And then okay, it's going to be a tough interview at the end of the game if I'm interviewing the losing coach here. But all of a sudden, the momentum shifts. I will say I saw this sense of, even though they were, you felt urgency, there wasn't like overreach or panic. I mean, Brady was on the sideline. There were a few, yelling at a few guys here or there, and a few other guys were like, hey, but they really stayed calm and said, if we do our thing, then it'll force them, meaning Atlanta, to do something that they're not used to doing, they're not comfortable with. And they did it methodically and a very careful, and it's amazing they did it in the time they did it, coming back from 28-3. So the game ends, and normally, this first overtime Super Bowl, they don't let all of the international media and everybody down to the field. They just let the broadcast crew, but they were all there. And so when it ended, I tried to get to Brady, and a cameraman got knocked over. Our producer got hit and fell. And I was fighting through the crowd, the video, to get to him. And they had to take an overhead camera and eventually got to Brady. And he was exhausted. I mean, he almost, in fairness to him, he didn't want to do that. I said, hey, we're going to be live on Fox. So he did it anyway. He was gracious to at least get the words out about the comeback. And that was after Deflategate and a number of other things. So that was one of those special moments that I think fans remember watching, and they don't know all that went around the background, but it was just cool to be on that side and watch excellence, even when it was almost panic time, to handle things the way they did.
From the famous OJ live interview on ESPN to the famous interview with Mike Tyson, his mashing, you being able to cover the most impactful moments in sports history. I know I'm running out of time, but if you can say what separates greatness from the average, what would you say?
I would say people that stay motivated. They are never complacent. It's almost, some people say they're never content, they're never happy. No, that's not true. I think they're happy and content when they're pushing towards something. And today's a good day, but I'm going to make tomorrow a better day, a greater day. How do I do that? That's Kobe taking 100 extra shots after everybody else leaves practice. That's Jerry Rice taking 50 extra pass routes down the field with a ball boy after everybody else leaves practice. And that way, when it happens in the game, it feels comfortable. So in the profession, they're taking that extra edge, and then they handle it in the moment. That's my overview. That's a great question, because I think it relates to all of us in our lives.
That's the legend himself, Chris Myers, and the author of That Deserves a Wow. Man, pinch myself right now, man. Wow to you, sir, and thank you for your time.
All right, I appreciate being on with you. You take care.
For 33 days, that's right, 33 days, 333 people will win $333 in cash,
Get ready for some instant wins, Georgia, because for 33 days, 333 people will instantly win $333. That's at least 10 instant winners a day.
Numbers are everywhere, there's enough to share, so pick and play Cash 3.
It all ends February 15th, so play Cash 3 from the Georgia Lottery. Play responsibly.